Hello, just Gem here and welcome, or indeed welcome back to my channel. I'm trying to sort of catch up and do videos with the items that I purchased during Black Friday. And one of those items was the Pat MCGrath Labs Luminous Legends Mega Eye Palette. And this is what it looks like on the inside there. Lots of shimmer shades in there, very few mattes, but very pretty shimmer shades, I must say. Here are the 15 shades of the Pat MCGrath Luminous Legends Mega Eye Shadow Palette. I could have actually just done them one by one. I think I had 18 shades in my head because normally Pat's mega palettes are 18 shades and I didn't want to run out of space. And then as soon as I got started I realised I had more room than I thought. So I could have swatched them differently, but here we are. This still works. So this is just with my ring light on, and then I'm just going to put on an additional light. I think that kind of shows the shimmers off a little bit more. So very shimmer heavy. I think there's only 3 mattes in there. So perhaps not the most versatile of palettes, but some very beautiful shades in there, definitely. I'm going to do my usual. I'm going to do one look on each eye. As much as I would love to dive straight into those blues, what I might do is a more neutral look with like sort of brown and gold, and then a more pinky peachy look, just to mix it up a little bit. Should we do the peachy look first? Let's do the peachy look first. First things first. Got my lovely film on there. That was a good one. I'm using my Zoeva brushes today, like exclusively. Normally I kind of mix and match and I use mostly my Refers and I dip into my Zoevas. There's a few Zoeva brushes that I really like, but I'm travelling soon, so I've packed my Refer brushes, and rather than take them out and forget to put them back, we'll do it this way. Let's start with a Zoeva 227, which always makes me remember Mel Thompson, and we'll go in with, what's that peach shade? So the shades are on the back here rather than underneath, which is, I mean, it's nothing new for Pat. So I believe the shade I'm about to dip into is called Coral Caress. And that's, oh, you can see my brushes, that's the shade right there, Coral Caress. And let's see how that appears on my skin tone. So I've just got foundation on at the moment, and I'm testing out this clear eyeshadow primer from the Gloss Gods. I don't know how well you can see that, but I was intrigued by the fact it was a clear crease killer eyeshadow base. So let's see. The first time I used this crease killer eyeshadow, my concern is that my lids are obviously quite dark, so I just wonder how shadows will cope battling with the pigmentation of my lids. It's quite, it matches my top actually, that was wholly unintentional. So that's doing quite well competing against my dark lids there. Not bad. Now there is a brown, I'm sort of still referring to the swatches that I have left on my arm. There's a brown shade here. I don't know if it would add any depth as such because they look to be the same level. What would that be? Fourth shade along. Sun-Kissed Rose? Let's try this. It's slightly deeper, but I don't know how much you'll be able to tell. Yeah, you can't, it's... Or are they slightly deeper? No, they're kind of on the same level, so you can't really tell the difference, to be honest. And I don't really want to use the brown in here, because I want to save that for the other side. But I got this palette knowing full well there was a lack of matte shades in here. Well, I'd been waiting for this sale. I was trying to be quite strict with myself and not go overboard buying during Black Friday, so I'd set myself a shopping list, and I hadn't included Pat McGrath because I wasn't sure about getting this palette, and she was really late in adding a sale. I think I am going to go into the brown, just to add a little bit of depth, I think. So yes, she was really late starting her sale. Yeah, that's better. Not going overboard, it's just to deepen things up a little bit. But I do still want it to be more of a pinky look. Yeah, so Pat was really late in doing her Black Friday sale, to the point where I thought, well, balls to it, even if it does go on sale, I'm not getting it. And then the sale started and I stood strong and I didn't buy it, and then the sale ended, and then I thought, oh dear, I've made a terrible mistake, I 100% should have bought that palette. And I regretted it. When the sale ended and I felt like I'd made a horrible mistake, I had massive FOMO and regretted not picking the palette up. And for some reason I kept an eye out on the website and the sale came back. So I don't know if Pat's team reviewed the sales and thought people haven't bought enough, let's put the sale back on. I don't know what the plan or the decision or what the people behind the scenes were thinking, but it came back and I snapped it up. I think it was one of those, spend a certain amount, get 30% off, spend a bit more, get 35% off, spend a bit more, get 40% off. I just qualified for the minimum percentage off. But I mean, 30% off is not too shabby. And my advice to anyone is just never ever pay full price for Pat McGrath products. As much as I enjoy Pat McGrath products, or rather I used to, I don't think there's anything I've ever paid full price for, and some of it I've got at an absolute steal. Okay, so that's a good base for shimmers. Now what pinks do I want to use? I think I might do, I mean it's more of a, almost like a light lavender, but I think I'm going to do these two shades here, with this towards the outside and this towards the inside. I'm not putting any NYX glitter primer down. I think from experience Pat's shadows seem to work quite well without an adhesive. Obviously if it would pop more if you did use one. I know that Pat's got her own adhesive that she sells. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. I've heard it's quite good, but NYX serves the purpose for me. I don't think I need any more than that. Going in with that lavender shade now. That's nice. That's intense. Very high shine, this one. So I'm going in with a shader brush. This is a 234, and I'm hoping that's just going to help me tidy things up a little bit. Wiping that off, flipping it over, going back into that lavender shade. This lavender shade is just, I might put, there's a silver in there, I might put that as an inner corner highlight. Tiny, minuscule amount of fallout, nothing too bad. Nothing too bad. I'm very curious if we're going to get a mothership from Pat this year, because we didn't get one last year. And I was almost, one of the reasons I didn't go for the holiday palette is because I think I was so annoyed. I was waiting for Pat to almost redeem herself and release a mothership that was different in a big way to the previous ones that she had done. And then there was no mothership, and this came out, and it was a slightly different format to her other holiday palettes that she's done. So this is obviously 15 shades. The other bigger ones that she's done are 18 shades. I don't have, I think there's one I'm missing which I didn't get because the shades I liked the most from that mega mothership were from, is it the Dark Star palette? When she did those 2 Star Wars palettes, one was red and one was gold. So I picked up the red one, I skipped on the gold one because I wasn't fussed, and then that holiday palette she released was a mixture of the red one, the gold one, and 6 other shades. So I skipped on that one, and I don't regret that I don't have it, because there's obviously a reason I skipped the gold Star Wars palette. So I don't have that one. I'm going to mainly put down the brown here, which is not too far off my skin tone, which means it's probably not going to battle too much with my very pigmented lids. And that's almost all I want to do. I want to keep it very simple. Very simple. I'm just going to do a very quick swatch of the golds in here and see which ones I want to put. This is more of a bronze, to be fair, but let's see. It's the first one really that's a true gold. I don't know if there's enough difference between those two to use them together. So maybe I'll use the outside ones. And the outside ones are Golden Muse and bottom middle Gilded Bronze. Gilded Bronze on the outside, Gilded Bronze. I'm filming this early in the morning before work. I was supposed to film this yesterday, so I've kind of got myself a bit of a filming and editing schedule, but it went out the window a little bit yesterday because I really struggled with uploading my latest video, which was incredibly frustrating. So I was meant to finish editing my video, export it, upload it, and while it was uploading, have my dinner and then film this. But my editing software was having other ideas, and it took me 3 attempts to export my video, and I didn't want to fall behind with my schedule because I'm conscious I've got like work commitments coming up, I've got a trip coming up, so I don't want to fall behind with my filming. That's quite nice, it's quite subtle. You know, NYX glitter primer would have made me visible from space, I think, if I'd used that. And then this is Golden Muse. I can't work out Golden Muse. I don't know if I like this shade. It's quite chunky. Okay, better. Yeah, it's got some chunk to it, but you seem to have to, you've got to work with it in almost. It's a very, very soft shade, very soft. But yeah, it just requires a bit more finessing. So aside from the fact that the sale came back on, I mean, I decided not to buy it at release because don't buy Pat MCGrath full price if you can avoid it. And I just wanted to see people use it and see what they thought, considering Pat's been a bit disappointing of late. And I think I was probably swayed to get it once I knew that it was Pat's Italian quint formula throughout this, because that's generally a very nice formula. So I'm going to tidy this up, put some concealer on, and then come back and we'll do underneath the eyes together. Okay, so I've just done my concealer. So let's quickly do the under eyes. I'll keep it very, very simple here. So I'm going in with the brown, that was Sable Seductress on this side. And then on the other side, I think I will just go in with Coral Caress, or at least let's see. I should have tapped that off. I'm wondering if maybe I will use the brown, but I'll soften it with Coral Caress. Yeah, because I'd forgotten I did use the brown a little bit on this side. Yep, that works. So that silver that I mentioned, it's called Lunar Luxury, and it's this shade here, and I think that's what I'm going to use as my inner corner on this side. Yep. And then dipping into my hourglass, this one here for my inner corner on my other eye. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to do some liner, some mascara, just finish everything off and then come back and tell you what I think about Luminous Legends. I'm back, face finished. How have I finished my face? Bit of Trigwell Cosmetic setting powder under the eyes. I have on my lips, I've lined my lips with Prune, so NYX lip liner in the shade Prune, and my lipstick is Natural Born Leader from MAC. For my blush, because I had it right beside me, I've gone in with the pink blush in here, Iridescent Rose, usual bronzer, and then my Clinique eyeliner, my Rimmel mascara. Pat MCGrath Luminous Legends Mega Palette. What do I think? It's alright. It's alright. It's not spectacular. It hasn't blown my socks off. I think because it's the Italian quint formula, and thinking in my mind of the last time I used the quint formula, I was really impressed. That's what made me decide that I wanted to get this when I heard about the formula. I think I probably need to, there's different textures in here, like as I said, so the Golden Muse one, I think it's called Golden Muse, yeah. So I need to figure out the best way to apply that to get the most out of it, because it's one of those more moist, chunkier formulas that you get. So even when you're swatching it out, you kind of have to layer it and smooth it out to get it to see it's come on camera. Yeah, so you need to almost apply it in layers and smooth it out as you go because of how chunky it is. Some of the other shades though, like was it that Lunar Platinum Lilac, this one here, beautiful, probably one of my favourite shades in there. I think Platinum Lilac paired with Orchid Opulence is going to be pretty spectacular, but I forced myself, so I think this and this paired together I think would be stunning, but I forced myself to stay away from the blues and the purple, just because I wanted to do something a bit different. And who knows, maybe I would have been more impressed and more wowed if I had leaned into the blues and the purples. So that's worth considering. So I think next time I use this palette, I will go into those blues and purples. I think I will pair Platinum Lilac and Orchid Opulence, and then I'll do, what's the lighter blue? Is it Moonlit Mist and Celestial Cerulean? I mean, these names, honestly, Pat, wow. What else have we got here? Coral Caress, Bordeaux Brilliance, Sable Seductress, Celestial Cerulean, Stardust Puny. I mean, she doesn't do things by halves when it comes to these eyeshadow names. Do I regret buying it? Like, I wouldn't go as far as say I regret buying it. It's a pretty palette. I'd have regretted it if I'd paid full price, absolutely. But I kind of wanted to just almost check in with Pat, see what she had on offer, see what I thought, and see if it was a brand that I still wanted to kind of root for in the background. I'll be keeping an eye on Pat. I'll be seeing what she does, seeing what she brings out. It is a nice palette. It's nice. It's nice. For the sale price, it's worth it. But yeah, let me use it more. Let me go into the colours that I favour and see if that makes any kind of difference. I didn't even show you my looks close up. So yeah, just so you can see it close up. They're not my most polished, I've got to say. I'm doing this before work, as I say, because I had issues yesterday and I wasn't able to do it yesterday. But you see, like, that's the lilac shade on the inside, and I just think that's beautiful as a shade. I think that's really, really nice. And then that's the Golden Muse that I mentioned on the inside, so it took some work, but it is actually quite nice. So they're pretty. They're pretty looks, and I think you can get some very, very pretty looks out of there. I don't know how versatile it is as a standalone palette, as I say, because it's got very limited matte shades, but I knew that going into it. But then it's funny because I have used the brown on here, but because I've mixed it in with, was it Coral Caress I think I used, it's almost appears more purple, whereas here it's a true brown. So that's quite interesting. So that's good to know, that if you just go in with a light hand with that brown, if you want depth, and you blend it enough, it gives you the depth without just being brown. So that's quite nice. I haven't done a neutral eye in ages, but I think I do prefer that. What a surprise. What a surprise. Which one do you prefer? It's a nice palette. It's nice. It's not on your mothership level, but I think you can probably get some really sort of beautiful, almost ethereal looks out of here. So I'm intrigued. Like, I want to play with it some more. I want to see what you can really get out of this. I've just dipped into a handful of the shades. Some of them I'm more impressed with than others, but I think maybe I just need to learn a few tricks to get the most out of some of the shades in here. So that's Stardust Puny, so that's quite a dry shade. I mean, that's spectacular. Yeah, those two are just unreal. It's the shades like that that make the palette worth it, to be honest. Glad I picked it up. Not wowed, but it is a pretty palette, and I think you can get some really beautiful looks out of that. So I'll be doing, when I do what do I think about it now, in however long, I'll be re-reviewing this and letting you know if my thoughts have changed, if it's gone up, if it's gone down, if I think better or worse of it. But pretty palette, nice shades, some spectacular shades. Glad I have it. I am glad. But yeah, as always, thank you for taking the time to watch. I hope you found this video useful. If you have, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you again in a video in the not too distant future. Take care.